So in this demo, I want to show you exactly how to use a multi-select menu and basically use this to add tags. So this could honestly, this could be anything, but the main idea is to autocomplete whatever I'm typing in and to have a backend that will be able to search and return results that are matching what I'm typing in. For example, in the use case that I was working with, I was going to add a tag to a question. So if the question was about JavaScript, I would add JavaScript. If it was about TypeScript, I would add TypeScript, Python, so on. So let me show you how that would work. I would start typing in PYT, and our backend recognizes Python. Same thing with TypeScript. The way that I configured this backend, though, it doesn't have JavaScript for some reason. So here it won't be able to autocomplete, and that is by definition. So now let's look at the Slack API documentation to see how to actually set something like this up. So basically this page just reference block elements, and we're going to go to this multi-select menu, and you can see the URL for this documentation. But again, multi-select menus include type ahead functionalities, whereas a user can type a part of all of the option string to filter the list. So that's kind of what I was showing you. And you can do static options or external data sources. The difference with external data sources is you have to set up a URL, a specified URL where your app should basically be looking to filter the results. Each time a menu of this type is opened or the user starts typing in the type ahead field, we'll send a request to your specified URL. Your app should return an HTTP 200 along with application JSON post body of options array, options group array. Here's an example. And basically, another thing to note is that the minimum query length, the default value is 3. So when you type in 3 characters, that's where we'll start auto-completing. Okay, so now that we understand that the default value is 3 here, let's look at the code to actually see how to set this up. So here is my front-end code, and you can see it's called Multi-Select FE, and this is all, I'm going to share this code with you all so that you can play with it. But it's basically only about 92 lines. And what we're doing is we're subscribing to the app home open event. And basically once we open, we're gonna publish this view, and the view is gonna have the multi-external select and then one button, which will have the text submit in it. Once I hit that button, it'll have this app action, which will say submit button clicked, and it'll log all the values. So again, if I type submit right here, actually I need to configure the app really quick. So, and I'll make this very nice and easy. Basically, we can go to Slack API and click create a new app. And we'll use from app manifest here. And we'll just pick your workspace. And basically, I have this manifest YAML here. And I'm just going to copy and paste it. And I'll paste it in here. And you can see, so I'm going to make a couple of changes. I'm just going to make this YouTube so that you can differentiate from my other apps. What I've done is I've added the bot chat ripe scope. I've subscribed to the app home open event. That's so we can open the app. And you can see that multi-select front-end glitch is the request URL that we're using here. And then again, we're doing interactivity. You can see here, and the request URL is the same, the multi-select front-end glitch. The only thing here is we have this message menu options URL. That's the back end for populating the actual options of the menu, and that's super important. I'll show you that code soon. This all looks good to me. Now, the only thing we have to do is really 3 things. 1, install your app to the workspace, and then 2, grab your environmental variables and add those into Glitch. So let's go ahead and install the app. We'll click allow. Great, now my app has a bot token. So let's go into OAuth and permissions, and we'll copy this bot token. And I'll go into my .env, and I'll add in this bot token. Now we'll go back to basic information, and we'll grab this signing secret. So that was actually my mistake. I accidentally took the client secret instead of the signing secret. So let's go ahead and use that. That's why we're seeing some of those errors. Okay, now let's try this again. If I refresh, you can see that the app home is working. And if I type in PYT, it should autocomplete with Python. Perfect. And if I hit submit, we'll be able to see that result on our logs. So again, basically I showed you submit button clicked and we see the value of Python there. So yeah, everything's working as intended. So now let me show you the backend code. So here is the backend code. It's only it's basically 43 lines long. And what we do is in app route Slack events, and then again, this is the URL, right? If I do share, here's the live site, right? So that's what I used for my Slack events. Basically what I do is I get this substring, which is usually those 3 characters that I type in. And here is my hard-coded external data source. So you can imagine, looking up in your database or doing an API call to your external service and populating an array, right? Where you have all these possible options where your user would start typing in and your menu would autocomplete there, right? And for me, it's only these 4 things, and I just wanted to make it as simple as possible, so that's why I did this. Now we have the for loop, right? And all programming is if statements and for loops. That's all it is, right? So here's our for loop. And here's our if statement in the for loop. That's all the programming is. That was supposed to be a joke, but not funny. So anyways, for I and range, we're gonna look for the substring. So if what we typed in, those first 3 characters, is in the name array, which is basically our data source, then we're gonna match it and have that be the option. Otherwise, we're just gonna let whatever the user typed in, we're gonna let them add that. And here's where we make our response of HTTP 200 and where we set the content type to application JSON. So that's more or less it. You can go ahead and use this code. I'll have all the code linked in the description. But basically now you understand how to use this multi-select menu and have this pretty dynamic and powerful filtering mechanism for that when your user starts typing in, you can kind of autocomplete and have a great, delightful user experience. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any other requests, please let me know in the comments below for any other Slack API tips. Thanks so much for watching.